Welcome back, YouTube. It's Ramsey. I'm here drinking my morning coffee, and today is a very special day. Today is April 28th, and that is my own adoption anniversary gotcha day. In our family, I call it a special day. A lot of you asked about my own adoption story, and so I'm going to tell that today. Before I get started, I want to make sure that I say that not all adoption stories are the same. This is my story of me and my family, and that is not the collective of all stories. I would encourage you to continue to listen to adoptees as they speak out about their experiences. This is just one experience. It's not the sum of all the experiences. So the purpose of today is just to hear my story and get to know a little bit more about me. Let's get started. We're going way back to 1993. I was born in June of 1993. Yes, I'm almost 30. I was adopted the next April. So like I said, today is the anniversary. April 28th, 1994. I even have it tattooed right here, April 28th. Just because this day is so significant for me, it is the start of what I know as family. I have such a positive adoption story and experience. I'm just so thankful for the experience that I have, and I know I'm privileged in that experience, and so I just thank God every day. And it's impacted my life so much that, I have it tattooed on me. And so April 8th, 1994, I'm a baby. My parents actually picked me up from the hospital in June of 1993, just 3 days after I was born. It was a private adoption, so that's a little bit different than what our family is currently experiencing in my own adoption process. They were actually handpicked by my birth mother. They got the call that a baby girl was going to be born in just a few days. They were able to pick me up 3 days later, so that had very little time to prepare, but they were so excited. My parents did struggle with infertility at this time. For them, when the first time that they really heard the heart behind foster care and adoption, they were sold. They knew there was no other path for them, so they took the leap. They were really young, in their mid-20s, had never parented before, had been struggling with infertility, and so it was definitely a big deal for me to arrive at home, and they knew from the jump that they were going to adopt me. Obviously, as you know, and we're experiencing now, court processes take a long time, so it wasn't until April of the next year where everything was final, and that's the day we celebrate as the real legal beginning of our family. Growing up, I always knew I was adopted. People always ask, when did they tell you? How did they know? And that has always been integrated in our family story. I've been told my story from the beginning. Somebody else was able to carry me and to have me and make me. My parents were able to parent me. Always with this sense of adoption just being one part of our story. I just remember fun times growing up. I would say I had the best childhood. I grew up playing in the yard, hanging out with family, doing sports, running around with friends, all the things that come along with childhood and adolescence. We've been through them all. And as I grew older, my parents began to explain the story to me of my birth mother and what she was going through at the time. They even had a limited understanding of what was going on in my biological family at the time, but they tried very hard to explain it to me at a level where I could understand it. I always appreciated their openness and their honesty with talking about my origin story and where I came from. And that comes into play a lot later in my life, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Mom likes to say that the judge on my adoption day said, "Come back when she's a teenager and see if you still feel the same." Parents say they still feel the same, and they still feel even better about me and the decision that they made, and they love me so much. And even through those trying years, they have stood by me so much. All my accomplishments, and they have worked so hard to put me through college, to support my career and all the things that I'm doing, and to support my family now. Watching them become grandparents has been one of the best things I have ever experienced. It has been so fun. They've been so understanding of our journey. My journey as a foster parent and now as an adoptive parent looks so much different than their experience. I'm having to do everything by myself, which is so different. My kids are older. They're coming from different places of trauma and already being in previous homes. And my parents have done an amazing job at understanding our situation is different and helping guide me through that. Not necessarily from experience, because like I said, our experiences are different, but from love. Understand what it's like to love a kid and to give up your life and your home for them, and to be so excited to bring them into your family. And can't imagine two better people to have by my side than my parents. But like I said, adoption was always a very open conversation in our house. We talked about it a lot, often. We celebrated it often. We talked to friends and family about it. It was never secretive or something to be ashamed of. And listen, my mom and dad are my best friends. They were then, they are now. Me and my dad have super similar personalities. People have always said I look a lot like my mom. They had no idea even that I was adopted, and people would say, oh my gosh, you look so much alike. And we are so similar, and we are best friends to this day, and I love them so much. I know not every adoptee feels the same, but for me, I feel so strongly that we were perfectly made to be together as a family, and I have no doubts about that in my mind. Me, my mom, my dad have been the makeup of my immediate family for forever. We are the big three in my life. They are the two most rock solid people and the most steady thing that I've ever had. And so I'm so thankful for them. They are so fun. They are so amazing. As a teenager, I started to have some curiosities about my biological family and some other questions that I wanted answered. And so I did a little digging, did a little research, unbeknownst to my parents. I know, they know now, so they're not going to find out on YouTube. And really the reason that the entire time growing up, even though I had curiosities, I never felt that I needed to reach out, was because I never felt that something was missing. I never felt that there was a hole or a need in my life. And I just have to credit my parents for being so incredible that I never felt like I was lacking in identity or in security. And they made me feel so secure in our home and our family. And so I just never felt the need to reach out. But I did a little snooping just because I had silly curiosities like, what do they look like? What's their story? Where do they live? Like very superficial, fun things. And my parents were open to talking about that. My mom a little more than my dad. He's a little bit more sensitive on that subject. Yeah, we had conversations about little trivial things here and there, and they were open to talking about that. I started fostering myself as a single girl at 27, almost 2 years ago now. And that journey took me on a lot of places of understanding other people's adoptions, understanding my own adoption, and some things that go along with that. And I did reach out to my bio mother last Mother's Day. We were able to talk. We were able to communicate. We have not met in person. I don't know that that's something that I'm going to do, but as a mom, I understood just how much she wanted answers on my side. As much as I was snooping and trying to find answers, she was left with so many questions. And so I was able to answer some of those for her, and I'm super glad. It doesn't taint my view on my adoption experience at all. If anything, it makes me so grateful that she made the decision that she made. I think we were all better for her included, us included, her family, our family. Now we can have that relationship where we can catch up and she can see a view into my life. And that's a really, really neat thing. I think that's been so helpful and healing. And so that's a cool part of our story as well. We just take our time to reflect, remember on all those things and where we came from and where we're going. One thing they always made sure of is that I was celebrated. This week I've been showered with gifts in the mail. Normally when I'm home we do strawberry cupcakes. It's kind of a tradition. But I think the testimony in adoption is not ignoring the fact that there is hurt or there's brokenness on one side, but knowing that the story of our past doesn't have to be the story of our future. I think it's a perfect picture of that we can experience healing and hope and life and love through our story. That is what I'm experiencing today. That is the story of our family, and I'm so glad to have that story. Thank you for listening. Thank you for getting to know us a little bit better. I wish my parents could be on here today, but I hope to do an interview with them soon on YouTube so you guys can get to know them. As always, you can subscribe here. You can follow us on Instagram. I'm on there as RamseyL, or on TikTok as Fostering Single. We love you guys. And remember what I always say, a single person can make a difference, and that means that you can make a difference. I hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you later. Bye.